Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm doing a review on the Messenger Fight Gear XXA 2.0 additional horsehair boxing gloves. So stay tuned. Hey, what's up guys? Carlo here. Today I'm doing a review on the Messenger Fight Gear XXA 2.0 additional horsehair boxing gloves. I got mine in this beautiful custom maroon, white, and metallic silver colorway, 16 ounces in lace up. You can also get these in Velcro, anywhere between 8 to 18 ounces with multiple colorways available on their website. You can also get this in any custom colorway you want, like I did with my pair. The exterior is made of full genuine cowhide leather, very beautiful leather. Interior liner is polyester satin, and the foam over the knuckles is a combination of quilted horsehair as well as foam, which is soft in firmness and I'd say about 2.5 inches in total thickness. And the gloves are manufactured in Pakistan. From a design standpoint, I think these look amazing. The color profile really goes well together with that maroon, white, and you have a little bit of that metallic silver right there down the thumb. The leather on here definitely has more of a satin finish to it with a really nice thick texture, which I like. And you also have Messenger written down vertically on the back of the glove like their other models. I think that looks okay. I feel like there's something missing with the logo though. Obviously a lot of glove companies use more like a circular logo, typically a logo that's centered on the back of the glove. And it's fine that they went with the writing right here vertically, but again, I feel like there's just something missing with the logo and I can't really put my finger on it, that they can do to improve the way it looks on the back of the glove. Coming down to the back of the wrist support, it is a flat cuff. You do have the cloth Messenger patch, says Messenger Fight Gear, boxing martial arts, distinctively different. And then it has the Pakistani flag colors with the white and the green. What I do like is a little added touch of the metallic silver on the outside edges of that patch, which again kind of gives you the contrast like you have here on the thumb. You also do have some patent leather, which is very smooth and slick, that they put and they stitched in over the back of the cuff so that you don't have any sharp edges from that patch. And it also covers the weight tag right here at the bottom that shows 16 ounces. So I definitely like that touch, and it gives the glove a much more kind of luxurious feel to it when you have that plastic. It's very similar to like what Grant does with their fight gloves with that patent leather. At the back of the wrist support, you're looking at about an inch of combination firm density foam padding as well as softer foam that lines up against your skin on the inner liner. So it's definitely more rigid on the outside foam, but they're more softer foam on the inside. The laces on here are very long, almost a little bit too long. They're flat laces. They're a poly cotton blend with plastic tips. The good thing is that they're long, so you're gonna get enough revolutions to really cinch down your wrist. The bad news is they're almost a little too long to where you feel like you're going around way too many times, but it's better to have these than short laces, right? So you have that. The inside of the wrist, you're looking at about maybe 3/4 of an inch of medium density foam that comes up right here. You also see it comes up on this other side. You do have that maroon piping at the base. I showed you guys earlier the polyester satin liner. The inside has a tag that basically says additional horsehair XXA. So it just gives you the model designation with the tag on the inside. Try to show that to you guys right there with the warning on there. If you participate in the sport, it's not their fault for you getting hurt, basically. So you have that right there. You also have ventilated holes above the grip bar as well as on the inner portion of the thumb. The grip bar on here is nice. It's fairly large and it has a good amount of firmness to it. You do have the triple thumb, so you have white, that metallic silver in the middle, and the maroon at the bottom, and you also have a leather attached thumb right there. So beautiful looking glove overall. Again, if I were to critique anything from a design standpoint, it would just be the logo. I feel like the logo, again, there's just something missing with that. You know, maybe they need to go with more of a circular logo that looks a little bit more bolder and really makes the glove pop. But I think that's, from a design standpoint, that's the only thing I would really critique with this glove. Quality wise, I'll say that these are probably some of the best quality gloves I've received from Pakistan, and just in general for a boxing glove. The leather on here has an extremely high-end premium feel. Granted, these are custom from Messenger, but they charge me the same price as their regular gloves that they have in stock for these, which we'll discuss in a second when it comes to cost. But man, I was really blown away on the quality of these gloves. When I received them, I thought they were gonna be like some of the other previous models I've reviewed from Messenger, which were solid gloves as well. But these are a step up. You know, I wouldn't put it past these gloves to compete with like the Fly Premiums and even some of the higher end Mexican made boxing gloves in terms of overall quality. And you guys can see it for yourself. I mean, the leather on here is extremely thick, and it reminds me of some of the American made gloves that I have, like from Barrick, and the Gollum gloves, even 1v1, with a very thick feel to it, very high-end texture feel, doesn't feel cheap at all. So that feels great. And just the stitching on here is done very well. I mean, there is no areas on this glove that stand out, that look like the glove was rushed. You can see it for yourself. I mean, the construction on this glove is beautiful. Show you the inner portion of the palm where the thumb is at. You guys can see the stitching for yourself. The white leather looks amazing. The stitching pattern, the symmetry, it's not crooked. The laces look great. Piping at the bottom. I mean, just a beautifully made glove. That's the left. Sorry if I'm sniffling a bit. I feel like I'm coming down with a cold. So if I cough a little bit, that's the reason why. But yeah, I mean, leather on here looks great. Again, I pulled these out when I received them in the mail, and I was like, holy crap, these are actually beautiful gloves. Kind of unexpected from Messenger, because from all the models I've tried before, they were not like this. They look amazing. In terms of weight, that was probably one area that's an opportunity. The left glove was at 16.2 ounces, and the right glove was at 15.6. So they were both, the left glove is a little bit more closer to the 16-ounce advertised weight. This one was underweight by 0.4. So they're about 0.6 ounces off of each other, which is not a huge deal, but again, man, if they were perfectly on weight, that would just add more to this glove. So they're a little bit off weight. The only other thing I would say critique-wise is going to be some of the dye from this maroon leather is starting to kind of bleed into the white leather. So again, just something to keep in mind is that you might get a little bit of bleeding, so I would not have these gloves sitting like on a white t-shirt or anything that the color can bleed off onto. So keep that in mind. So you're seeing a little bit of bleeding with the color on both gloves from the red to the white. Again, not really a quality issue per se, but just something I noticed. And then the other thing I also noticed is the Messenger, which is written in white font on the back of the glove right there. You can see that it has a little bit of the maroon color kind of bleeding off into the white. So it would have been nicer for that to not have kind of that color bleeding. So it looks almost like pink, if you can see it. And that's because of this leather color dye kind of bleeding off into the Messenger right there. The other thing is the logos are a little crooked. I'd say that the right glove, you can see how it kind of starts right here and then it kind of bends a little bit. Has a little bit of kind of bends like that. And then the left glove is a little bit better, a little bit more straight, but the right glove definitely is, the right glove right here definitely is a little bit more crooked. So again, could be a little bit more straight. The glove is pretty well balanced, so definitely doesn't have a lot of, top heavy feel to it. So in terms of the weight distribution through the glove, I think they did a really nice job. So in terms of quality, man, you really have to be critical on this particular glove and nitpick, because there's really not much there. From color bleeding to logos being a little bit off. That's really the only issue I really saw. And then obviously the weight. But symmetry wise, you guys can see right here, height's the same, the width is the same. That's the back of the glove. I'll show you the palm side. So again, same thumb shape, same finger compartment in width and depth. This outside, you can see the pre-curved hand compartment. It's pretty much the same on both. Same thing with thumb position on both gloves. Be pretty much the same position with the glove. But again, probably some of the best manufactured and quality gloves I've seen, especially coming from a Pakistan manufacturer. Just kind of goes to show you there's such a huge range when it comes to gloves from that region, that you can get really cheap entry-level stuff that is just kind of pumped out of the factory, and then you can get some very high-level gloves like this one that just takes it up a notch, in my opinion. So beautifully constructed gloves. All right, let's talk about comfort. So let me slide my hand into the glove. So first thing you notice is going to be the liner. Polyester satin liner, feels really good. There is zero excess material in this glove, so they really pulled the slack out of that inner liner, and it feels really good. Thumb position on both gloves feels great, so feels very parallel. I make a fist. The left glove pulls down on the thumb just a little bit, but not by much. I didn't feel like my thumb jammed at all with this glove, thankfully. The base piping on the thumb is accommodating for the fat part of my thumb on the gloves. Again, it's more of a compact fitting 16-ounce glove. If you're somebody that has larger hands and typically go with 16, the 18s might be a little bit more accommodating for your hands, so keep that in mind, just because these are more compact. Gloves are extremely well broken in, and that is because of the horsehair that they use in the padding. Obviously they use foam as well, but right off the bat, you can open and close your hands really well with relative ease, with really no resistance. So for those of you that like to, obviously parry, which I hope is all of you guys, but catch shots and all of that with your palm open, you could definitely do it with these gloves. I'd say that the finger compartment is a little bit on the shallow side. I wish they were a little bit deeper to really get my hand in more of a pre-curved position, but these gloves kind of remind me of an old school style horsehair glove, where they didn't really have that deep finger compartment that was pre-curved in that position already, like you see here with my right hand. They had a little bit more of a shallow finger compartment when it comes to some of those old school horsehair feel gloves. So for those of you that like that that old school feel, you'll definitely enjoy these a lot. But it could definitely be a little bit deeper. I'd say that the finger compartment in terms of width is a little bit more on the narrow side. So I didn't have any issues with my fingers crowding into each other, but anybody with larger than average size hands might have some problems with their fingers kind of pushing into each other. So keep that in mind. The grip bar feels really good, and you also do have a secondary grip bar as well that feels kind of like a piece of neoprene with some type of synthetic material over it covering to give you kind of that nice luxurious feel for your fingertips to really grip onto. But overall, very comfortable glove. Again, a little bit more on the compact side. Protection and performance wise, these are definitely more of a puncher's glove, obviously because they are horsehair. For those of you that really love to feel your shots sink through on the padding and like to feel everything when you're training on the heavy bag or whatever it may be, these are definitely the gloves for you. In terms of shock absorption, these are going to be definitely more on the lower end of the spectrum. So if you have an existing injury, some type of irritation with your knuckles, something like that, I'd be pretty wary of these. I'm not saying don't get them, but I would be more inclined to say use some type of supplemental gel pad or knuckle pad, because if you put 3 to 4 rounds, probably in the 4th round into your bag work, you're probably going to feel a little bit of soreness over your knuckles because of that horsehair. And there is foam in here that they utilize as well, so it's not just flat out horsehair to where there's really no level or layer of protection. There is some protection on here, but again, I like to temper expectations and tell you guys that this is a horsehair glove. You get that beautiful flat punch surface where you're landing on those 2 flat knuckles. That feels extremely satisfying, and you get excellent pop and excellent feedback and dig. And when I say dig is when you're digging your shots in and you're rotating your punches into the shot, just that feeling of your punches really digging into your target, and you get it with this glove. And you can see I can open and close and get my hand into that position where it needs to be, but that feels really amazing. But definitely more of a puncher style glove, less of a protective glove. Great on the mitts. So if you have a pair of mitts that your coach uses, that you get great bang and feedback. And you guys have all been in the gym when you're hitting the mitts and you really land a really nice clean shot, and if it feels good and it sounds good, you'll definitely get it with this glove. They work perfectly on the mitts. So definitely a glove that performs excellent, but a little bit more on the puncher side, definitely not on the protective end when it comes to shock absorption. Cost-wise, these gloves are $200, which I think is a great deal for these gloves. I mean, It's hard for me really to describe these other than you guys seeing these gloves in person on how well they manufacture these gloves. And the fact that you have multiple colorways, you can get them in your custom color. The padding is great on these for those of you that more of a puncher's glove. They're very comfortable. You can get them in various different sizes. So if you want something more compact just for bag work, you can do so. If you want something larger for sparring, you could do so. So you have a great variety of sizes, closures, colorways. It's a very versatile glove. And again, the quality on these gloves are top notch from what I've seen from these. So definitely excited for these gloves. There's a couple opportunities, you know, with a little bit of the styling, a couple small little quality issues that I mentioned earlier in the video, but nothing really that stands out that would put me off on not getting these gloves. So if you're looking for a horsehair glove and, you know, in that $200 and under budget range, these are definitely up there in my opinion. So, you know, hopefully this will make your decision making a little bit easier compared to some of the other gloves out there. But I definitely love these gloves a lot. They perform very nicely, and we'll continue to use these in the future as part of my rotation. So if you guys have any questions or comments, you guys know what to do. Put them down below. I'll put the link in the description box, or you can find these XXA 2.0 boxing gloves from Messenger Fight Gear. And I'll see you guys later. Peace.